What's up, YouTube? So there was my physique update. It's been a few weeks since I did the first one, since I've been intuitive training, and I haven't really done an update on my training. I've talked about it a little bit on my Instagram, mtschmitt77, but I haven't actually talked about how it's going on here yet, so for, you know, at length. So I thought I would just update. Physique wise, I have to be honest, there hasn't been a lot of change. There has been, my legs actually have decreased in size by, not my hips, not my, you know, glute measurement, but just like around my thighs and quads have decreased in size by about 1/2 inch. And I'm happy with that because I've always, especially with like being able to keep my glute size, because I've always struggled with having kind of large, not like thunder thighs, but in comparison, like ratio wise, when I was competing and things like that, it was harder for me to, and like I mentioned last time, one of my goals was to like make my legs a little bit more defined, things like that, and lean those out. So I believe that that's probably in the process of happening. I still don't see like a crazy difference. I see a little bit of a difference, but it's not like super noticeable day to day, you know? But you know, any progress is progress. But what I was gonna say though is that I have to be honest, I've been a little bit too hard on myself with this new kind of change in how I've been feeling and looking. What's happening essentially is that I'm not used to not having a normal fluctuation of, you know, today is a high carb leg day and I'm lifting and doing 20 minutes of cardio, so I know what I'm gonna look like tomorrow because I know how many macros I'm gonna eat and I know exactly what I worked out and how my body responds to that, etc. In the past, I was really used to, you know, this day I probably won't look as great as I will 2 days from now, just because of the cycle of different high to low to moderate carb days I'm going through and that kind of a thing. It was much more predictable and it made me feel just kind of more, maybe more like steady. And now it's not that I don't, you know, essentially look very similar and all of those things, but what's happening is when I change my training up like randomly and, you know, one day I'll just do something because I feel like it. What's happening is I might have 3 higher carb days in a row, which is fine based on the training I'm doing because maybe it's more intense than I was doing before, that kind of a thing. But it's kind of messing with my head a little bit. It's just, you know, just a change that I'm trying to get used to. And I do still very much enjoy having giving myself the choice of what I'm gonna train that day. Like for example, yesterday I went for a 3-mile run. It was purely because John had our car, we share a car, and I didn't want to wait to go to the gym for, you know, by the time that I could have the car. I wanted to work out right then and I just didn't want to wait, and so that meant doing something either at home or, you know, going for a run or doing something outside. So I definitely do still like being, you know, having the flexibility to train what I want, when I want, that kind of a thing. That has made me feel really good. However, I have kind of had to, you know, like, you know, snap myself out of it multiple times these last few weeks of just worrying too much about like the scale, for example, which not worrying that I'm like gaining weight or anything like that, but like just that it's not reflecting what I think that it should be, in terms of like fluctuate, like what I was saying before, like I used to know if I had had a high carb or a refeed day that it might go up a little bit, or if I was really depleted, it might go down, and that would indicate something to me. And so if I had a refeed day in the past and the scale went down the next day, then I knew that I might be due for a macro increase and maybe a reverse diet was in order. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. And now I can't as objectively look at those things because my training is so all over the place, and so like my macros are so all over the place. And so that's what's making it kind of mess with my head, because like the science major and you know, and that kind of thinker in me wants to be able to look at the data and see that there's a trend in it, and that's been really hard for me. You know, when you, for example, get on the scale, and by the way, the reason that I weigh myself is not because I'm trying to lose weight or anything like that, but like I said, because I look for trends and fluctuations, and I've always, you know, done so from the objective, like personal trainer, you know, health and human physiology degree person that I am. And so anyway, so I still have been doing that, and I frankly feel like I should stop because, you know, there's no real trend in my workouts, and so so it's just kind of messing with me to have it fluctuate, you know, like within a 2-pound range or whatever. There's still pretty normal fluctuations, but they make no sense at all. Like, for example, last night I ended my night with 4 Oreos. 4 mega stuffed Oreos. Just because I was still hungry. I had gone for, you know, a run, burned more calories. I still had a few carbs left, and I ended up going over what my carbs should have been, but I was kind of like, you know what? I did like an F it kind of a thing where I was like, okay, if I'm like 15 carbs over for today, I'm not gonna freak. And I woke up lighter this morning, and then tomorrow I'll probably be up a pound. It's just like, it's driving me a little bit crazy just because I've been so used to being in the bodybuilding, like, you know, competition mentality and like a reverse dieter and a macro counter and everything before, and having been so regimented on that, it is kind of messing with my head a little bit to not be able to see things in as much of a direct like correlation as I have before. And so I'm trying to back off of that a little bit. I really am. I pulled myself back from stepping on the scale a few days just because I was like, this is not going to help you. Like, you're not going to find good information in this. And I want to repeat again that it's not because I don't step on the scale because the scale defines my worth at all. 100% I go by measurements, which is why I started this by telling you what the difference in my measurements were versus the difference in my weight, because it's irrelevant. You should always look for composition and, you know, overall physique changes, but I have had to like tell myself, you know, like, don't weigh yourself because this is not going to help you. Go measure yourself or something, you know, or don't do anything today. Wait a week, you know, or, you know, force yourself to do something more specific in your training, but you can't have it all. Like, essentially, I just realized that, I can't really have it all. I can't have non-structured training, and so in a sense, not as structured macros. Like, I have macros per day, you know, a low, a moderate, and a higher day's training, have a low, a moderate, and a higher day set of macros. So I do have something to relatively match, but they're all over the place. It might be like high, 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 low, medium, low, low. You know what I mean? Like, because my training is so all over the place. And so are my fluctuations, and so are my data. And I'm so used to being in like the scientific data mindset that I'm going a little crazy, you guys. But so essentially what's going on is that I've had to, you know, remind myself to practice what I preach, that, you know, fluctuations are normal, and you should go by how you're feeling, and you should go by whether you're happy or you're stressed or whatever. You know, have I had drastic physique changes? No, and that's the point. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? I wasn't doing it for a physique change. So I have to kind of remind myself of that, and just really practice what I preach, you know, and just take it for what it is. It's a new, you know, cycle in my training, in my life, whatever. I have a wedding to plan for, like, other really fun things going on, and I'm gonna be traveling. Work is good. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, other things are so good that something like this small, it's hard to, like, address it and make yourself realize that you're being a little ridiculous about it. But it's been such a large part of my life for like 3+ years, where I've been, you know, at least calorie, if not macro tracking. You know, maybe at the beginning of my journey, it was more calories or whatever. And then I got into bodybuilding, and then it was, you know, that type of, you know, structure, you know, clean eating, I did all that. And then it was macro counting and reverse dieting, which was very regimented, but very good for me. And, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, I've just had to kind of like shake it off a few times, pull myself away from the scale and been like, this is just gonna make your little graph go like this, and it's gonna drive you insane. So it's been an interesting few weeks, I'll just say that, because I've loved having the flexibility that I have, but I've also, the sciencey person in me has been going a little crazy on the not having good data to work with. But on a good note, my clients are doing awesome. I am working with a few new people this month who are just killing it. Like, you guys make me so excited. And I'm gonna reverse diet at least one, if not multiple of them, because they're already killing it so much, and their bodies are just like, I mean, I was kind of blessed with a few people this month who came to me already as macro counters and stuff, and they just wanted to be like more regimented, more serious. Anyway, long story short, I'm real excited to reverse diet a few people, because that was kind of like where I thrived with myself post diet phase, and I just know that it makes people really effing happy. So I'm really excited about that. And like I said, I have other exciting things going on, and I can find data with my clients and things like that. But I have been, you know, essentially I've just been having to tell myself to practice what I preach and just chill and just see, hey, your quad measurement is slightly decreasing, and you're not losing muscle probably in 2 weeks, you know, not a significant amount. And so that's probably, you know, fat loss in your legs, which is really hard for you. And, you know, I'll just take it for what it is. Like, those mini victories are, you know, little happy things like that, as opposed to being able to actually trend through data my progress. So that's, those are essentially my struggles and my kind of reality check with myself. But otherwise, everything is going, I mean, it's going fine. Things are good personally, whatever. And by the way, I mentioned that I thought about, you know, maybe training for a longer race or something like that. Or I thought that maybe running more might make me want to do that. I think instead of like a half marathon I had mentioned, I think if I were to do something like that, it'd be more like a 10K, which is I believe like 6.5 miles or something like that. And the longest I've raced versus like the longest I've ever run, the longest I've raced is 5 miles. It was an actual like 5.0 mile race on Thanksgiving of, you know, just a few months ago. So that is intriguing to me. I just would kind of like to like move up, instead of like jumping up to, you know, whatever it is, 13 miles. Maybe I should do something like a little bit more moderate first. And I've never raced a 10K, so I'll probably do that this spring, or, you know, early summer or something like that. And because, can you even believe that it's almost May? Like, where has this year gone? I just feel like it's flown by. I'm sure it's because like we were traveling for the holidays and then we moved and all that, and like so much has been going on, but like seriously, 4 months is already gone? Like, it's just like bizarre to me. Anyway, so I'll keep you updated on that race. Hopefully I'll find one, like a good one, and register for it and just do it. I will need to, like, you know, make sure that I am running probably at least 3 days a week, you know, seriously running, meaning like don't go for like a jog or something, maybe have more of a structure that day, but generally I still plan on doing this intuitive training. It's just that if I pick a race, I might have to do, you know, I might just have to like keep in mind like, oh, you've only run twice this week, you know, do another day or two, something like that. So I'll keep you updated on that, and please give this a thumbs up if you want more physique updates and to just hear more about my intuitive training, or if you can appreciate other trainers out there, you know, the data mindset. Also, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below if you have any questions or anything else that you would like to see. I love suggestions, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.